सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे नमो महावदन्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नाम्ने गोरक्षे नमः। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण।
हरे कृष्णा प्रभु जी।
हरे कृष्ण।
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी।
हरे
हरे
कृष्ण।
कृष्णा प्रभु जी।
हरे कृष्ण।
हरे कृष्णा।
हरे कृष्णा प्रभु जी।
So now the two weeks are remaining for Ram Navami. So I was just thinking that today we will speak something about the celebrating Ram Navami, and then we'll go back to our Bhagwad Gita. So today I was thinking of discussing about one of the very important character in Ramayana, and that is Lakshmana, because there are many things which we learn from these characters. I was just Hare Krishna. Am I audible?
Yes, Prabhu.
हरे कृष्ण।
Okay. Hare Krishna. Just a minute, I'll share the things. Okay. So today we are seeing that these our scriptures like Ramayana, Mahabharata, Bhagavatam, they are not just a kind of a spiritual scriptures, but then we see that they have a great relevance to our human life also, not just a religious life, because that's how our Indian spiritual philosophy is, that uh, there is a holistic, complete understanding of uh, our life. Because if you go in the West, specifically Western world, they feel that this life means to be happy materially. Just, uh, but then we see that uh, the Indian or the Vedic philosophy is not to be happy alone or on material plane, but to be happy on spiritual plane, and then including others also in that happiness. That's how the so we put that on some edge or something. Okay. So here are some open the window. No, not here. Just a minute. Hmm. So the just few days back only I was hearing one of the conversation of Abdul Kalam. So this Abdul Kalam, when he was asked, who is your favorite character which has inspired you very much? So I was very amazed to hear that he referred to one character from Mahabharata, that he said that this character in Mahabharata is my hero. So when people were asking and guessing which it can be, whether it was Arjuna or it was this, that, Dharma. So then he said that this Vidura is one which is like my hero, because he was so truthful and he had a concern for others, even at the cost of uh, getting opposition. He was ready to speak the truth. So we see that even the great philosophers, great scientists, great leaders of society, they also get a lot of inspiration and courage to go in life from these uh, historical personalities. तो ये जो रामायण महाभारत के कैरेक्टर है, they are not some stories only. They are the real characters. They are the historical characters as much as Gandhi and many others are. So when we are talking about the characters of Mahabharata or Ramayana, we understand that these are the real people who lived on this earth with such high moral and integrity and knowledge, devotion to Krishna. So when we are discussing about these lessons of Ramayana, there are almost 25 lessons are there to my like notes here. So we'll try to cover as many as possible in the next few sessions. So these are the very important lessons which we learn. Just a minute, I'll show you the, if I can. Lalit Prabhu, you can give me the sharing rights to my.
Yes, Prabhuji. You are already co-host, Prabhuji.
No, not this. I'm just joining again.
Okay, okay.
You are able to hear, or there is any?
No, we can hear you. Just one beep in the background.
Just a minute. That sound has gone now?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah. You are able to see the screen?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay. So this is the
Ramayana and Mahabharata, two of the greatest epics from India, will soon be taught in the schools of Saudi Arabia. This decision has been taken under the Vision 2030 initiative of the Saudi Crown Prince. It's a big step towards inclusiveness, a significant message of coexistence, and a clear reminder of the organic relationship India shares with the Saudi kingdom.
The land of Mecca and Medina, the birthplace of Islam, will now teach epics like Ramayana and Mahabharata in schools. This may just be the most significant step towards inclusiveness from the de facto leader of the Islamic world, and a message in coexistence to naysayers across the globe. The decision has been taken by the Saudi Crown Prince himself. It is part of Mohammed bin Salman's Vision 2030 for his kingdom. The announcement was made by Noof Al-Marwai, a Padma Shri awardee and the first certified Saudi Yogacharya or yoga teacher. She put out screenshots of her son's exam paper, which included questions on Hinduism and its beliefs. Soon, all schools in the kingdom are expected to adopt a similar curriculum. What will the new curriculum include? The history of Hinduism and Buddhism, the teachings of Ramayana and Mahabharata, the concepts of karma and dharma, and the importance of yoga and Ayurveda. Riyadh says it aims to create a coexistent, moderate, and tolerant generation. An estimated 440,000 Hindus already live in the kingdom. This is the second biggest Hindu diaspora in the Arab world, after the UAE. In fact, Indians make the largest community of expats in Saudi Arabia. 26.3% of the total migrant population in the country is from
Yeah, so we can see here that even outside of India, there is a kind of large scale of acceptance of these scriptures like Ramayana and Mahabharata, because these are not just a kind of a history of some kings like Alexander and this and that, but because these were very righteous, religious kings with so much of dedication. And that's how we can see that after thousands of years, lakhs of years, now also we find so much great learning, so much great inspiration from their lives. So, if you see the historical accounts, all the historical kings, whether you see the Alexander or many others, Napoleon or something like that, it's very rare to find some very moral, devoted to God king like that. Very, very rare. They may be very expert in fighting, but their moral life was very weak. But here in India, we find that Ramayana and Mahabharata specifically, these are the just a minute. So we see that these are the characters which bring inspiration now also, after thousands and thousands of years later. So when we are discussing about Ramayana and Mahabharata, we are discussing the real people lived on this earth. When the Lord Ram appeared as incarnation, and then he did many wonderful activities. So when we are reading Mahabharata, Ramayana, we should know that these are the most powerful historical accounts which we have, which can really impact our life, life of our children, life of the next generation, like that. Because we see traditionally, these are the books which had great influence on the generations past. But then now, because so much of modernization is there, we hardly talk about Ram, we hardly talk about Krishna, we hardly talk about Ramayana, Mahabharata. in our daily life, we may talk about so many other personalities as inspirational heroes, but then the real inspirational heroes which had inspired hundreds and thousands of generations in past, we generally fail to talk about them. So it is a very nice that at least on such occasions like Ram Navami is coming, we know that what great uh, amount of wisdom is there in our literatures. So these are not just stories to be told by grandmother to grandchildren. So these are not some stories to be told just before they go to bed. दादी माँ बताती है कुछ stories. So these are not just kid stories. So these are the stories which have inspired great society. So we also are a recipient of that wisdom. तो आज हम ये देख रहे थे
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare
Sound
Krishna.
is not coming. Sound is not coming.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Your bandwidth had gone low. Network bandwidth.
this sound is better than before.
Yes,
Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes. Yes. Hare Krishna. This is better, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Yes, Prabhuji. Now it's coming. It's better.
No, this sound is better than before, or previous one was better?
This one is better, Prabhuji.
Okay. So this sound is better.
Yes, Prabhuji. This sound is better.
Okay. So I was. Is there any echo behind? You all are able to hear clearly, or there is some disturbance?
There is a small echo, Prabhuji, on the background.
Hare Krishna. Okay, just a minute. Okay. So we were discussing about the first lesson, and that is the effect of bad association. Because this is how the Ramayana starts. The biggest kind of a turn happens because Ramayana is full with twists and turns as Mahabharata. And we see that all practically Bollywood films will have something to give and take with Ramayana and Mahabharata, because all different types of tragedy, comedy, the suspense, the politics, so everything is there in Ramayana and Mahabharata, if you see. So here also we see that the greatest suspense story in Ramayana becomes that in one night the whole future of the Ayodhya was changed. Just a minute. So when this Kaikeyi was brainwashed by the very nice talk given by Manthara, we see that sometimes in our life also, Manthara type of people need to be identified and kept little away. If we don't do that, then we may suffer the same loss as it happened to the whole kingdom of Ayodhya. So the Ramayana, such people who can create so much of negativity in our mind. See, Ram was not somebody who had some enemies. Rather, if you see the Ramayana, Kaikeyi loved Ram as much as Kaushalya. Never in Ramayana we find that Kaushalya had some issues with, Kaikeyi had issues with Ram. Rather, the first response of Kaikeyi, hearing that Ram is going to get coronated, so she was so happy. She gifted Manthara with her necklace. She said that, no, you have given me the good news. You have made my day today. So that was the first response of Kaikeyi. But then what came ahead, which changed the whole course of Ramayana, and that is she gave an ear, which is very important part of our life, to somebody who was not worthy of. So when she started hearing the kind of misconception or the understanding of this lady, then her mind also got completely polluted. So who are these Mantharas in our life? Everybody has to find out. But then one of the biggest challenge in today's Kali Yuga is to not be influenced by the media. This media itself becomes like a Manthara, keeping so many unrealistic goals, unrealistic ambitions, unrealistic. The way the Manthara was kind of just pushing Kaikeyi to accept her opinion, and then after a good amount of persuasion, Manthara was successful in making Kaikeyi accept her opinion. Similarly, we see that nowadays also, when we are associating with negative people, we are associating with people who create a dissatisfaction in us. We should aspire to be with people who can give us sense of satisfaction, who will by associating with them, we feel satisfied, not dissatisfied. And we see that generally when we see the media, when we see advertisement, when we see so many things, the general emotion which is enhanced is dissatisfaction, which creates a kind of a customer base, consumer base economy. So the practically all advertisement create dissatisfaction in our heart. And we see that imperceptibly हमारे knowledge के बिना हमारे, it's like without being conscious about it, we become dissatisfied. तो पहले के दुनिया में अगर हम देखते हैं the life just say 20 years back life and now the life, हम देखते हैं कि दुनिया में satisfaction was far greater because it was created the whole atmosphere like that. आज का atmosphere है कि जितना आप dissatisfied रहेंगे उतना आप प्रगति करेंगे. तो प्रगति का पहला स्टेप बताया जाता है कि dissatisfaction. आप जितना dissatisfied रहेंगे कुछ करेंगे आप, लेकिन that completely cuts off the roots only of our goal of being satisfied. क्योंकि कितना भी हम करेंगे अगर satisfaction हमको हमने सीखा ही नहीं है satisfied रहना, तो it is not the car or the house or the gadgets which brings us satisfaction. It's a training which we get that brings satisfaction. तो हम देखते हैं कि भारत में तो people are satisfied even with very bare minimum also, because they are trained like that. So in our life, when we learn these principles from Ramayana, that Kaikeyi exposed herself to Manthara's advice, and Manthara exactly twisted the whole reality in such a way to create a sense of dissatisfaction, sense of insecurity, sense of you're being cheated, and that's how she became exactly opposite to Lord Ram. आज भी अगर आप जाके देखेंगे अयोध्या में, तो कैकेयी का जो महल था वो सबसे बड़ा महल था पूरे अयोध्या में, और राम और सीता जब आए थे मिथिला से, तो कैकेयी ने वो महल राम और सीता दोनों को भेंट दिया था कि आज से आप ये महल आपका करके. So Kaikeyi loved them so much, but then we see that same Kaikeyi who loved Lord Ram and Sita became their enemy. So this is the first lesson we learn, not to make ourselves open to negative propaganda. So power of bad association, we understand from here. Second, attachment to service should be seen first, not to the position. तो हम देखते हैं यहाँ पे कि राम जो थे वो he was attached to his service, not to the post. और वो बहुत difficult है, इतना आसान नहीं है वो. ये स्टोरी तो हम सुन लेते हैं, लेकिन when somebody is by hearing such examples, by seeing such examples in our daily life, then person gets these very important principles in his life. So the second principle which we are talking about, and that is attachment to service and not to the post. राम अपने पोस्ट से अटैच नहीं थे, उनका पोस्ट एक ही रात में चला गया, दूसरे दिन राजा बनने वाले थे, लेकिन उनको बोला गया कि अभी आप जाओ, ये जो जंगल है वही आपका राज होगा, तो आप कल से जंगल के राजा होंगे, जाओ। तो राम बोले ठीक है, नो प्रॉब्लम। तो हम देखते हैं कि राम was not attached to his post, he was attached to service, and that's how he was equipoised. वो डिस्टर्ब नहीं हुए वहां पे। दूसरा कोई होता था तो आत्महत्या कर लेता था, खुदकुशी कर लेता था, क्योंकि that is too difficult to digest for a common person, कि एक रात में राजा का पूरा दूसरे दिन राजा होने वाले थे, लेकिन दूसरे दिन वो जंगल में है, तो वेरी डिफिकल्ट टू डाइजेस्ट। हम तो सुन लेते हैं कि राम वनवास गए, लेकिन वी कैन नेवर फैथम और अंडरस्टैंड द व्हाट इट मीन्स, कि इसका मतलब क्या है वनवास जाने का। हम तो कभी कभी ऐसे घूमने के लिए जाते हैं, जैसे गोवर्धन इको विलेज जाते हैं या तलासरी जाते हैं, तो हमको लगता है कि कितना अच्छा है, कितने अच्छे पेड़ है, कितने अच्छे गाय हैं, कितने अच्छे पिकॉक है। तो बट Ram was not there on some tour. Ram was there for living there in the forest for 14 years. So that is something very challenging. We can't just imagine what it means. और वो कुछ ऐसे सामान्य लोग तो है नहीं, वो तो पूरे राजमहल में पले बड़े हैं, और then they are, लेकिन because he was attached to service, then very easily he could take that challenge. So in our life also we can see that to the degree we are attached to our service and not to the position, then we can see that there is lot of good things can come in our life. बहुत बार हम देखते हैं कि जब लोग बड़े हो जाते हैं by their post, generally they are very reluctant to do lower activities. For example, अगर कोई बहुत बड़े पोस्ट पे है तो कुछ साफ सफाई करना है या कुछ his personal work करना है, तो that becomes a very kind of a, he feels very insulting, feels very uncomfortable to do this type of work, you see. But then to the degree we understand that post is post, and that is for service, not for so when we are dealing in this world, we should not attach ourselves to the post and then live a very unnatural life. So here Lord Ram was willing to go to forest. अगर आप रामायण देखेंगे तो लक्ष्मण जो थे, he was very expert in many arts. अगर आप देखेंगे कि राम जब चित्रकूट में रहते थे तो वहां पे उन्होंने देखा कि ये भरत का सेना आ रहा है। उनको समझ नहीं आ रहा था किसका सेना है, लेकिन आवाज आ रहा था और बहुत बड़ा धूल का बादल उड़ रहे थे। तो राम ने पूछा लक्ष्मण को कि देखो कौन क्या इतना बड़ा शोर हो रहा है, क्या हो रहा है? So Ramayana describes that Lakshman immediately started climbing a very tall tree in that whole area. So very easily went on the top of the tree, and then he was observing कि क्या है, and then he could see the flag on the Ratha of Bharat, and just by seeing that flag he became so angry, because for him Bharat was like the person who, because of him, Ram was here. So we understand that although he was a prince, but he was very expert in climbing the trees. So आज भी अगर हम कहाँ जाते हैं ऐसे, even तलाशनी, और I really doubt how many of our children can even climb the tree, because it's an art. It's not so easy to, because we have taught our children to play seesaw, we have taught our children to play, but then these are the natural things which were very kind of very much part of their training in their even kingly people were taught like that. So he went like that, and then we see that when he came to Nasik, जब वो नासिक आए तो नासिक में उन्होंने देखा कि राम और सीता बहुत बार जंगल में रहते हैं और झाड़ के नीचे रहते हैं, तो वो अच्छा नहीं है, कभी बारिश आता है, कभी ठंडी होता है. तो लक्ष्मण रिक्वेस्टेड लॉर्ड राम that please allow me to build a small home for you from the wooden sticks and bamboos. So within a very short time alone, this Lakshmana built a very nice comfortable house. So उसका मतलब है कि Lakshman knew the art of building homes also. So as a king, to have that understanding and skills is something very very surprising. अभी वहां पे तो कोई था ही नहीं ना, ऐसे नहीं था कि उनके कुछ कॉन्ट्रैक्टर थे and then he just gave some contract and then he made it. No, he personally has to cut down the trees, make the nice 2 BHK home there in jungle. So he knew all these arts. So basically we understand that to the degree we are service oriented, to that degree in difficulties it becomes easy to go through that situation. So Ram and Lakshman, they were not attached to position, they were attached to service, and they were willing to go to the forest because their father was desiring that way. So third thing, we see that the mission of life should be to destroy the demoniac tendencies in our heart. Because we see that the whole Ramayana, the purpose of Lord Ram coming here was this only, that he wanted to come and destroy all the evil forces on the this earth. So when he is coming here, he came with this purpose that it can destroy the like Trataka was the first demon they killed, and then Khar, Dushana, and then the whole dynasty of Ravana, including Kumbhakarna and many others. he killed. So one thing we learn is that Ram was ready to go to forest, ready to go to cross the ocean and go to Lanka to destroy Ravana. So similarly, if we also have wrong tendencies in our heart, if we have bad habits in our life, we should also take good endeavor to curb them. We should fight very enthusiastically against all these demoniac forces which actually pulls us down, very negative way. So Ram was ready to go from Ayodhya to Lanka by foot, not by train or flight or something like that. He walked all the way, and then he created a huge army of monkeys, and then that's how he battled against these evil forces. So what we learn from this is that we also should take courage and put all our energy to fight against these evil forces which are there in our heart. Fourth thing which was, we see that even extreme reversals when it comes to in our life. So if they are taken in right spirit, it will make our life successful, because the reversals are part of life. It depends on how we take it. So some people, they take it as the stepping stone to go ahead. Some people take that as a U-turn stone. Then they take U-turn and go back. Like for example, when you are going on the road and then you get a speed breaker. So some people, when the speed breaker comes, they decrease the speed, put their vehicle in first gear, and then they cross over. And then when they cross over, then they increase their speed like that. But then, so the speed breaker is to break the speed of the vehicle. The speed breaker is not to break your journey only. That you stand there seeing at the speed breaker and take a U-turn and then go back. So many times challenges can come like a speed breaker. That doesn't mean that we stop our journey. So here also there were very extreme reversals comes in the life of Lord Ram. Although he comes as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, taking incarnation in this world, but then he is showing through his own example that how we should lead our life in such situation. So we see that when this reversals happens in our life, then what kind of decision we make, that is option to us. So some people actually take courage and go ahead, even when the reversals comes in their life. And if you see all successful people, all people who have achieved something, everybody has passed through so many such reversals in their life, which were like very great, very huge. But then we see that the strength to fight against such reversal comes from study of books like Ramayana and Mahabharata only. When we see such characters, living examples, that gives us that strength. This one thing is missing in now current generation, is this, that they don't have that powerful strength to deal with difficult situations. क्यों? क्योंकि हम देखते हैं कि आजकल सब लोग दे आर पैम्पर्ड, उनका इतना लाड प्यार होता है, तो उनको कभी ऐसा ऐसा कठिन प्रसंग आता है तो, या थोड़ा डिफिकल्ट सिचुएशन आता है, तो उनको पता ही नहीं चलता कैसे हैंडल करने का उसके साथ. This the one of the organization in America, they had made this one very interesting kind of research. What they did was they took some 5 very rich American boys, and they took them on the kind of a tour, and then they took some 5 middle class, little lower than that kids also along with the same tour, and then they went to a very nice place which was like a farmhouse. It was very AC 5-star farmhouse, all the facilities, all the luxuries, everything. And then what they did was, where they were staying in that room and then the whole thing, they cut off the light for 5 hours, and then they saw how these children behave when there is no light, no phone connection, how these children they live. And they were very shocked to see that children who came from very it's like pampered background, they were so frustrated practically. They were just fighting with each other, being so intolerant, being kind of very disturbed because light was not there and nothing was working, and like that. But then they found that other 5 students which they had taken, they were peaceful in that situation. They were doing their other work like that. So we can see that more we pamper with lot of facilities, actually we are making our younger generation handicapped. So they become handicapped to deal with tough situations, which will come for sure, because the life doesn't guarantee you always the right nice situations only. Even Ram has to go through so much of challenging situation. What to speak of us? So we are all Kali Yuga products, and then there is all possibilities of going through these challenging situations. But here we see that when the reversals comes, then if we are in proper spirit, which is going through it, it takes a lot of courage, it takes a lot of patience, which has we can see very visibly nowadays. That patience and other things they have remained as qualities to be read in scriptures only. People are hardly they can wait. So yeah, so when the reversal comes, then we have a proper spirit, and that spirit comes from reading Ramayana and Mahabharata. Okay, so it's 1:10 now. So are there any questions, comments? Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्णा प्रभु जी।
हरे कृष्णा।
जी जी।
तो किसी का कोई प्रश्न है? ओके, अगर प्रश्न नहीं है तो हम यहाँ पे विराम देंगे। So I thank you all very much for coming and understanding this very important literatures in our life, which are important. Okay, so thank you very much.
थैंक यू प्रभु जी।
Thank you, Prabhuji.
हरे
Hare
कृष्णा
Krishna.
प्रभु
Hare
जी।
Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna. You should loudly chant 3 times Haribol.
Hare Krishna.
हरि बोल, हरि बोल,
Hare Bol.
हरि
Hare
हरि
Krishna.
बोल।
Hare Bol. Hare Bol. Hare Bol.
बोल हरी बोल हरी बोल हरी बोल
हरि बोल प्रभु।
Hare Krishna.